if you've already watched a couple of videos in this community flywheel series from Startwell, then you might already be familiar with the various types of events that you can produce, internal events, external events. We've covered a wealth of them in previous videos. And now I want to turn the page over to video itself. So a lot of people in corporate realities don't necessarily think through content strategy when it comes to crafting visual messaging. And that can be a real problem, not only in terms of articulating your brand effectively and engaging stakeholders through video, but also in losing millions of dollars in business. Imagine this, you're a software company that charges $1 million a year for a software license, and your customer support team records videos on their iPhone in bedrooms. And your customer who's paying you $1 million a year, sets their staff up for training and starts watching these videos with your CS team in their pajamas, recording next to their bed with posters on the wall of their favorite band and stuffies sitting on a shelf from when they were 14. Not a good look and kind of cringy. So really important to be able to record video that strengthens your brand in a way that gives you value and gives your customers an accurate picture of who you are and who you want to be represented as. So there are lots of wrong ways to do video. But here at Startwell, we've built a new type of studio model that brings everyone from startups to large multinational corporations here to record content on our stages as B-roll and as video podcasts recorded in purpose-built studios that have collectively been viewed millions of times by audiences all around the world, which help our clients strengthen and enliven their brands. So from all of that experience, we've learned a ton about how all types of companies can use content well. And I'm going to give you a simple system that you can use to develop a content strategy to start crushing it with quality videos for your company that tell your story and keep it fresh. So here are 3 types of videos to think about. We're going to set them up, and then we're going to deep dive into all the different types of videos that you can start making today to help your company. All right, the first category are evergreen identity videos. This is stuff that you set up and it lasts. It just basically gives you a lot of value. And in order to do that, you have to think about these videos as foundational assets that every company should have to build identity and trust. We'll go deeper in a second. The second category is periodic content, stuff that's not quite as static. It's not set it and forget it. It's set it and update it. So maybe once a year, you're going to be doing videos that are updates, for example. So update-driven videos that build credibility and, really signal to your audience that you're relevant to help you build momentum. And the third category is even more frequent. We're talking about ongoing series. So this could be like a video podcast, for example, that really helps your brand stay alive and visible and also humanizes your brand. So one thing, just to recap, that most companies miss out on is that they overinvest in one-off marketing videos. Now, marketing's great. However, if you put all your budget into producing a static asset that's kind of an advertisement, then you're going to typically underinvest in foundational identity. People might get a message about buying a product and service, but they won't know who you are. And if they don't know who you are, they won't know that they can trust you to buy that product or service. And if you never commit to a repeatable series, then your brand's not enlivened, right? So people already are like scratching their heads after seeing your ad. Hey, that was a cool video, bro. That company looks awesome. I want to buy their snowboard. Man, but there's no more that I can learn about them, who they are, what they care about. And I don't know if they've got new snowboards coming out next month. There's no updates. That's just a crappy little example of this sort of scenario. We see the strongest brands treating video as infrastructure not as campaigns. We see them treating video as compounding assets, not posts. So everything you do with video reinforces itself. And for customers and for stakeholders that want to dig into your story, you can't create enough content. There will be people that want to like just consume all of it. And the closer they feel to you, the more they'll want to know you, right? Or vice versa. The more they know you, the more they'll want to feel closer to you. And so video helps that. And of course, the strongest brands also treat video as a proof of clarity, not as just creativity. So, you might seem cool because you have an ad that's clever, but you really want to use video to be able to clearly articulate with your stakeholders. Let's jump into Evergreen identity videos. All right. So these are like low churn videos. You don't need to reinvent the wheel once you have them produced well. They should get you a lot of leverage, and they should age well for like 3 to 5 years, depending on what market you're in and how much change and volatility is in that market. So essentially, these videos answer the unspoken question of who are you and why should I care? It's pretty foundational stuff. The first type is a brand manifesto or a point of view video. So in this video, you're going to declare what you stand for. What's your belief system? What's the problem you're trying to change? And why the status quo is broken. So in these videos, you want to remember, it's not a pitch, it's an orientation signal. People are looking to really get to know you real quick. They want to trust you. And this sort of video gets put in the most obvious place. You're going to put it as a homepage hero, maybe in your investor decks if you're raising money, so you can quickly kind of show to investors, we know who we are and we know who we're challenging and we know what we want to achieve. And then also in sales intros. So it's a good first step forward in any context. The second type of greenfield video is a founder story. So this is where you tell the origin of your company. It's pretty important content because it helps humanize the company. So you want to tell the story of why you exist, why the company started, what personal frustration or insight triggered the product or service path that you started down to evolve something compelling for the market. Like our founder, Jim, was completely obsessed with organic vegetables. And that's how he found this crazy tomato that was forgotten in the Andes Mountains for thousands of years that can heal every sickness if you eat it. Whatever the story is. And it's a personal story, and it's one that they can connect with as an audience. And then you also want to talk about what's driving leadership today. So it's not just about who founded the company, but it's about who's stewarding that company forward in the absence of the founder, perhaps, or in addition to the founder. So this sort of video builds trust faster than a feature list because it's about humanizing your story. Another type of video you can do is a video that tells people what we do as a company. So you really want, again, to drive clarity in the story. You're not trying to prove that you're smart. You're trying to say, this is literally what we do. This is who it's for. This is the problem that this thing solves. And this is why it's different. So again, you don't want this to be confusing. You want this to be very clear because it's about connecting with people and instantly giving them that confidence in your capabilities to do what you're doing. Something that is often overlooked, despite companies growing rapidly and needing to represent their values to talent when they're going through talent acquisition. If they are hiring, like I see this all the time, there's high growth companies that are hiring hundreds of people all the time. But when those people go to their website to say, okay, well, what's the culture of this company? Do I want to work with these people? Who are these people at this company? How do I get to know them? They have to go to LinkedIn to do digging because on the website of the company itself, there isn't a culture and values video, right? So you want to create a video that attracts the right people and repels the wrong ones naturally by just what's on camera. And maybe who's on camera, right? Show the diversity at your organization if that's something important to you. So you want to demonstrate how people work together at your company, what behaviors are actually rewarded at your company. So it gives people a sense of what the true glass ceiling is in all different facets, not just like how do I earn more money and how quickly can I earn more money, but it's like if I bring my values to this company, will it be rewarded? Will people actually feel good that I'm part of their team? These are questions people ask. So if you can answer them before they even ask them out loud through the hiring process, you'll be that much further ahead in that process. And so you also want to talk about what's not negotiable at your company. So things that you kind of value and things that you stay away from and that you don't appreciate. And so essentially, this fits into like HR stuff, but culture and values videos can also be relevant for investors, right? If you're a public company and you want to demonstrate what you believe in to give them a true human understanding of your team, then super important video format. You might also want to consider customer success videos. These are really, really, really powerful videos as proof of value, right? So you want to replace claims about your product and service. Oh, well, our product will get your t-shirts cleaner out of every wash load. Okay, that's great. But show us the money. Show me the clean shirts. Show me the black shirt that stayed black and the white shirt that stayed white, even though it was drenched in wine because your friend Guido got a little crazy at that dinner party. So what's important to consider for customer success stories is before and after narratives. You want to really show that arc of like, okay, who was this person before they experienced your product and service? And who are they afterwards? What problem did you actually solve? And how did it impact them? How did it impact their company? So what are the outcomes? Not just like, yay, this is great. So it's not just a testimonial. Testimonials can be very thin or they can be very deep. And the deepest, most engaging stories about a product or service are the ones that humanize it and give you context through it. So evergreen content, basically what we've looked at, the last 5 video types, have been focused on principles and impact, not short-term tactics. So that's how they last for a long time. That's how they're always relevant to people. And that's something to think about. Let's look at the second category of these videos. So periodic or update-driven videos. And these should be refreshed annually, typically. It could be more often, depending on your business evolution arc. And you are going to answer through these videos, are you relevant, growing, and paying attention? So people watch this content to quickly get up to date with the fact that, yes, this company knows what I'm looking for. And yes, this is where they're going tomorrow. And yes, they actually are interested in continuing to solve problems for me as a potential customer or as an existing customer. So the purpose of the first one, of course, is to signal momentum and leadership. And this would be like an annual company update. So it's the state of the company, typically like presented by a leader or leadership to camera. And you're going to signal momentum of leadership and talk about what changed this year, what you learned, and where you're heading next. These are good. This is a good kind of annual marker for leadership to establish their perspective on wins, changes, and all that stuff. Again, not just for the staff, for any stakeholder, customers, partners, recruits, potential hires, investors can all learn from an annual update. Another type of this kind of periodic content would be product or service updates. So software companies, of course, release these all the time. But if your release cycle for product innovation is very, very fast, you might forget that storytelling is important. And so I would remind you that very important to release videos. This could be every week that you're doing feature releases. We know software companies that do this every week. They're sending out a product update video, and it's awesome because it almost like becomes fun for users to say, wow, I'm really engaged. Like I look forward to knowing what's coming up in this product because I watched the product team tell me about it. And if these videos are short and sweet, then all the more fun to watch them wherever you are, right? So you want to reduce confusion and friction by publishing updates and relate what's new, why it matters, and who it's for. So contextualize the update. And again, it keeps that evergreen explainer video from becoming outdated because this is what breathes life into it, the product updates. You can also have your team and leadership do update videos that doesn't need to be about the whole company. It could just be about whatever their purview is. And that shows evolution and not churn. So you're constantly building. You want to relate that story and introduce new leaders at the company, new capabilities that they bring or other people are developing, and what internal growth at the company looks like. This signals stability and ambition. So different types of audience for this type of content. It could just be internal updates, right? Where you're having leaders just signal to your staff that things are cool and getting better. You might also want to do an annual recap or a highlight reel. What's cool about these videos is they're not necessarily top down. You could have leadership and all levels of staff participate in a really fun narrative that gets released annually and updates the whole team and all your stakeholders with milestones and events and wins and community moments from experiencing being at your company or being a customer of your company for the year. Let's go on to that third category, which is about, ongoing content series. The most popular thing, I was going to say essentially, ongoing content series these days are podcasts. Like everyone knows podcasts. Well, that's what they are. Podcasts are a way to breathe life into your brand. And you might think of them as kind of like the most valuable and affordable brand engine for your company. And this is how companies really stop feeling like static things. Like this gum company makes this particular bubble gum. That's all they do. Well, no, it's not all they do. And how you find out what they do, because you're not going to go to product updates to learn about the new bubble gum flavor every month. You tune into their really engaging podcast where they have celebrities chewing gum and trying to blow a big bubble while they talk about having fun as a kid. Boom. Now you got a show that's engaging. So first type of category for all companies that you could think about for ongoing content series would be a thought leadership or point of view series. This is where you would have people established through your content, authority for your brand. They can provide opinions on industry shifts, lessons learned, pattern recognition. This is really about kind of relating not just that everyone working for you is smart, but that there is tactical approach to solving problems that your company has under the hood, and that you're sharing how to think like you to your customers and stakeholders. So this is where your brand becomes referenced, right? Through thought leadership. It's not just about teaching people about who you are so they can recognize you. It's about them saying, oh yeah, this is referential information. They can cite what you're quoting, or they can quote what you're saying, etc. Another category of serialized content would be behind the scenes or process content. This is huge, right? In the last few years, BTS has become like the primary content. If the behind the scenes story isn't being told, people don't know that it's authentic. Something to think about. People want to see the camera behind the camera. And part of that is about building intimacy and trust with your brand. And you want to show how decisions get made, how work actually happens, and what's really hard. Like people typically today in searching for authenticity don't necessarily want to see your life at a company being so easy or assume that it's easy to do what you do because their life's hard. So why not share with them? Talk about what's difficult. What are the problems that your company is trying to overcome? And you're going to humanize your company through that, especially if that's a regular narrative through a serialized show. So you want to humanize your brand without oversharing, and that's a line that you can define for yourself. Let's talk about a couple more formats. I've got 3 more in the list. Customer, partner, or community conversations. These are wicked because what you could do is you could shift the spotlight away from you or your company and your staff through interviews or panels or roundtables, whatever format of engagement that you craft. They're easy to create as videos because you would do, let's say, a podcast. It's an interview series, and every episode you've got a regular staffer, maybe your CMO, talking to partners about how they're using your product to market their own company. And you get all these like case studies, but they're socialized. And you're leveraging the credibility that the guest has every episode and accessing, after you publish a video, their network, expanding the network of opportunity for your own brand through the content series. We're going to deep dive into this in another video as well. We're going to talk about, event-derived video content. So we think through our community flywheel kind of stratagem that events are pinnacle for B2B companies, particularly in sales in 2026 and onwards. So something to think about is, how do you turn the moments shared at events into media that can perform for you? We're talking about taking talks and workshops and internal sessions and community gatherings, right? Whatever the format of the event is, internal or external, capturing those moments at the events and then splicing them and dicing them and getting them out there as videos that anyone can digest within the strategy that helps your brand. And think of it like this: literally one event that might happen once a month can fuel content for the whole month. So if you did an event every month, and we've got deep dives into this if you want to watch other videos in this community flywheel series that talk about different types of internal events, different types of external events, and how you can plan them. Now start thinking about how those events can yield videos and help you connect in a kind of ongoing basis with your stakeholders. And I'll do another video that really goes into that, or maybe 10 videos. The way we're going, there's a lot to talk about. Lastly, I wanted to say that you can do events, or you can produce videos, I should say, that kind of are all about knowledge sharing. This is similar to thought leadership, but it's particularly focused around insights and practical, tactical knowledge and strategy. So you can get very tactical with your type of content that you deliver on camera to teach people and empower people. That could be even your customers. Like, this could be a deeper dive. Rather than a product release, you could take a whole show that you craft, and instead of just talking about what's new with the product, you could talk about how to do things with the product and train people. And that could be a whole show, and you can make it fun and engaging, but give people the strategy and insights and actual practical knowledge, and you'll see that, wow, they're endeared to your product and service and you, and they know a lot of what they need to know in order to be power users and be brand advocates. So these are 14 different videos that you can craft. We're going to go into a deep dive on each one in separate videos, and we'll talk about the idea of serializing content in a way that's really, really easy pretty soon, when I go into events and I look at authentic ways to capture content, to create videos that everyone can relate to, because you're just telling stories that are like honest and open and sharing moments with people, and everyone loves watching that. All right. Thanks for watching.